Sunday, November 6th, we crown our first light heavyweight champion. And who's in the mix? EBI Absolute and Middleweight champion Gordon Ryan. He's out for his third belt.
Gordon Ryan is the EBI Absolute champion. It's a last-minute replacement.
Gordon Ryan came into EBI 6 as an alternate, as a replacement, as an unknown.
A few days ago, we didn't even know he was going to be here.
Super excited for the 205 EBI. It'll be my third title if I win. The Absolute was the first Absolute that they had, so I won that title. That was the first one ever. Same thing with the middleweight, the 185. So the 205 is gonna be a whole new division, and I'm excited to chase that title. First one was very tough. Huge guys was the Absolute. I've been winning a lot, so everyone's trying to take me out. So it feels good that I'm finally on the map. 1 year ago today, I wasn't really, no one really knew me, except for the people close to me and some guys around here. I graduated high school, and I worked part-time for a couple summers after that, and then, pretty much just went right into training full-time. And now that I'm making money, I have enough, I can make enough money where I can sustain, just coming to the city and training every day and, getting ready for competitions and things like that.
Since winning that tournament, he's probably the fastest rising jiu-jitsu star on the planet without winning any points, titles, without winning any IBJJF gi tournaments.
Between a year and a half ago, I was a purple belt, and now I'm a black belt. I think it's a little hard mentally for guys, that have been around much longer than me to lose to me because of how fast I progressed. I've only been training, 5.5 years. And for guys that have been training 10, 15, 20 years, I think it's just, a little difficult for them mentally to process, losing to someone as young and age and in the sport to me.
Right now, you're seeing Gordon Ryan exploding on the scene, and with that outspoken personality that he has.
If I was training to take out Gordon Ryan, I'd probably just drop out of the tournament because it's just impossible to beat me.
Danaher Death Squad, they're beating everybody. They're beating the 10th Planet guys, they're beating the IBJJF guys, they're beating the Ronins, they're beating the miscellaneous crazy grapplers out there that are coming out. Right now, the best team out there in the submission-only scene, no doubt, is the Danaher Death Squad.
Training with guys, all the time that are, number one, hard to submit, and number two, dangerous themselves. It's interesting. A lot of people you train with, you feel like, maybe this guy's better than me, he mounts me, he takes my back, but you never feel really in danger. Training with guys that are all my level, and speaking specifically all my level and, submitting people, it's very difficult for sure. It's like, I feel like if I blink, I'm getting submitted. If I'm not on my A game every day, it's just submission after submission after submission. So it's hectic for sure. How are we, Danaher Death Squad, me, Eddie, and Gary specifically, so good? I think part of it is that we have someone who's constantly teaching us, but then it's one part of it. I think the other part of it is that we train anywhere from like 2 to 7 sessions a day. Sometimes I have 20-hour days where it's literally just training, driving to a new training session, driving to the next session, training.
It's a mystery as to what exactly John Danaher is doing with his leg lock system.
John just focuses on being a coach. Most coaches are also competitors. They compete in one part of their life and they coach another part of their life. John doesn't have to worry about competing, so he's not ever working on preparing for competition or traveling or anything like that. He's only working on making his students better. So he researches every martial art, wrestling, sambo, judo, and jiu-jitsu, and he just watches tape and he tries to combine everything into one. And I think that's something that hasn't been done too much yet, and hopefully it'll start to develop in the future, so we can give a big push in developing our own sport.
And Gordon Ryan's not just a leg locker. Gordon Ryan will take your back or he'll jump on your leg, so he's very dangerous.
I think everyone to prepare for me is prepared for leg locks and back takes. So I think everyone's working on defending the back and also working escaping and re-countering into leg lock situations. I think the main thing that separates me from everybody else is that, I don't rest. I don't really do anything besides jiu-jitsu, right? I don't take vacations. I truly believe that rest is something that you should save for when after you're done competing and when you're retired. But missing training to go out and party or hang out with your girlfriend is just completely out of the question. All the luxuries of life I'm saving for You know, after I finish competing, after I'm done fighting, I'm completely retired, and then I'll enjoy myself.
There's not that many people calling Gordon Ryan out. You know, he's calling everybody out, and he's very, very confident in his skills. And I think Gordon Ryan's pretty funny, if you ask me. You know, there's a lot of rivalries going on, a lot of online wars going on. It's very entertaining. You're either with them and you want to keep seeing them dominate like they're doing, or you know, you're trying to beat them.
Keenan was announced EBI 8 when I was competing, and then I was in EBI 9. I got announced, and then Keenan pulled out for whatever reason. I'm not sure. I just know he pulled out. I'll let you guys speculate on that. But yeah, he's not in anymore. They replaced him with Vinny, so that should be fun.
Gordon Ryan's biggest challenge is no doubt going to be ADCC gold medalist Vinny Magalhaes.
In Jiu-Jitsu, I've accomplished like a few things. You know, I'm not one of those guys that has like 10 world titles or like 3 ADCCs, but like I pretty much have won like every single major tournament that I have competed in. So as a black belt, I have a world championship like in Ogi. I have won ADCC in 2011. I've placed in every single ADCC that I have competed in. I do have like world titles like in the lower belts, like as a brown belt, I won weight division, absolute division. And I have like a blue belt world championship. So pretty much like, you know, I have competed, like everything that I've competed in Jiu-Jitsu I have won. And you know, I'm not the most accomplished guy, but I'm up there with some of the best guys.
Now, Vinny comes from a deep jiu-jitsu background. To get a gold medal in Abu Dhabi, I mean, you got to be among the top guys in the world, and he is considered one of the best jiu-jitsu fighters on the planet right now.
I'm 32 years old now, and I've been training jiu-jitsu since I was like 13, so it's been almost like 19 years. And since I joined, like, you know, the gym, like I knew that's what I was gonna be doing for a living, and here I am. Well, jiu-jitsu for me started just like I believe like anybody else, especially like back in the day in Brazil. Was watch Royce Gracie fight in the UFC, you know, the first UFCs, and nobody knew what jiu-jitsu was until like Royce started fighting in the UFC, and that kind of like, you know, made me want to go to a jiu-jitsu school and see what he was and how he looked. And for the first 2 weeks, I was just like literally just watching practice, and I kind of like fell in love with the sport just by watching. Well, to be honest, like right now, like as far as jiu-jitsu, like I don't have like any coach. Like my coach is still in Brazil. That's the only guy that was my coach, is gonna still be my coach. I'm not looking to like join another team. And as far as training partners, like, you know, when it comes to jiu-jitsu, I have like some of my students that are my main training partners. You know, like whenever like I get ready for competition, for example, ADCC last year, I only trained with my students. I didn't go like to any gym. Like I didn't look for black belts to train with. I invited people from other gyms to train with me, but mostly were my students, my purple belts, brown belts that I was training with. I have never competed in a tournament like EBI as far as like a rule set, but I've competed in ADCC, and it's the same amount of people in it. 6-man brackets, like 4 matches to win the whole thing. It's just like ADCC. The only thing that changes like are the rules. So it's like, you know, it should be a different experience, because now it gets to that point where, you know, no matter how dominant you are like in a regulation, now you might have to start in a bad spot like when you go to overtime. So that's the only thing that changed really, but everything else is about the same. So like you have to have 4 matches to win the whole thing. If you don't win the whole thing, you don't win anything. So it's like well, for me to want to be part of EBI, first off, there is money. You know, I mean, if you look like my record recently, like when it comes to jiu-jitsu, it's like I'm doing every single tournament that they were paying something. I'm not doing anything for free. Like I did compete in IBJJF, like which was 2 months ago. And that was just because like my students were competing, so I wanted to motivate them to compete. So I did it just like to help my students. But the thing is, I'm not doing like anything just for medals anymore. At this point, you know, like I said, I could still have won like a few more turns. I could still be like a 5 times world champion. I would just have to be competing in those terms and not getting paid. So for me, it's not worth it. And EBI, there's like a good amount of money that no other event in Jiu-Jitsu is paying. And plus there's just prestige, you know, like you're gonna be on like a UFC Fight Pass. A lot of people are going to be seeing like there's a potential for like a good sponsorship. So it's like, again, it all comes down to business. So EBI is the only promotion that's in Jiu-Jitsu that's really professional right now.
Vinny's got to be considered the favorite. He's giant, he's a beast, he moves like a panther, really good at leg locks.
Like I said, there is prestige, but I'm doing mostly for the money. So for me, it's like, I'm sure that I'm going to be chasing that submission from like, you know, the minute it starts to the very end of the match. And some guys, they might just want the belt. They might just say that they want to win. Like for me, it's like, yeah, the belt's awesome, but I want to get the money, so I'm gonna be like chase the submission. And I believe that most guys that are competing like in this kind of format, they're looking for the same thing. They want to make the extra money, which is a pretty good amount of money. Like especially if you say that, especially when you see that you're not getting hit in the face, not getting kicked, not getting punched. So it's a pretty good amount of money. So I believe that most guys are going to be chasing the submission, which makes the matches a lot more entertaining. If you're just competing for a medal, and if there's points. Because if there's points competing for a medal, you might be happy just with an advantage. You might be happy just with 2 points or 3 points or whatever. When there's money involved, then you have to get the submission to get that money. I feel like that pushes people to go get a little more aggressive and like chase the submission.
Be very exciting to see how Vinny's leg locks match up with Gordon Ryan's leg locks.
Wrestling probably is going to be like the style that I'm like not as good as other areas because I'm not like a wrestler. I don't mind pull and guard. If I have to take people down, I'll try to take people down, but it's not like my main thing. But when it comes to like groundwork, like, I've trained with Sambo guys, and my leg lock game like improved a lot since I started training with those guys in Russia. I got a black belt under Eddie Brown, like 10 Planet Jiu-Jitsu. I have a black belt under Royler Gracie. So for me, it's like, I'm a guy who's like, when it comes to grappling, like I have hybrid style, like I do every single style of grappling. I'm pretty open-minded. If somebody comes here and show me like this new style of grappling, I'm gonna see what it's worth, like to learn from them, like and try to add up into my game. So for me, it's like, I'm not just the leg lock guy, I'm not just the armbar guy, I'm not just the guard passer, I'm the guy who's doing everything, try to do everything equally.
My head instructor at 10th Planet Decatur, Brandon McCaffrin, called me up and told me about Daniel O'Brien. And he told me what a badass he is and what he's doing down in the Southeast. And then he started training with Nathan Orchard, and Nathan Orchard calls me up and says, man, you gotta put Daniel O'Brien in EBI, he'd be perfect for it.
The best expression of jiu-jitsu is through defense. Of course, going into this tournament, the stakes are high, so to say. Be a lot of pressure on anybody. I think being able to go in there and keep the pressure off myself, and me being able to be myself is that's gonna be the challenge for me, is to be able to express my jiu-jitsu in front of everyone. I feel like that's my goal, and I feel like win or lose, if I don't express that to the truest form, that it's a loss. My style is different. That's all I can, it's different from everybody else's. I feel like it focuses on the details inside of moves, the details that make up jiu-jitsu. I feel like that's the expression of my style, like pay a lot of attention to the details, how to put your weight on people more precisely. When somebody pulls, I push, and that whole philosophy and developing those reactions to where they're a lot more smooth. A lot of people think they got a technique when I feel like it can still be polished a lot. It's not truly effortless yet. And the effortlessness in jiu-jitsu is really the beauty of it to me. I think it's a matter of me going out there, competing my best, showing the truest expression of my jiu-jitsu. That would mean the most to me as far as the EBI title. I think, that would kind of come with me showing my jiu-jitsu to its best.
Defense is huge in the Machado lineage, and we both have Machado lineage. Him with Carlos and me with Jean-Jacques. And with Jean-Jacques, it was always about defense. Defense promotes confidence.
My name is Adam Big Red Sachnoff. I train out of 10th Planet SF, and I'm also the head instructor and owner of 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu San Mateo. I think I've got an all-around good game. I'm known for my bottom game, which is pretty rare for like a guy my size. Expect a lot of finishes from me off my back. I guess my specialty would have to be the Gogo Plata. That's kind of what I'm known for. I actually won a trip to ADCC hitting a Gogo Plata in the finals. I've had like 6 or 7 Gogo Platas in competitions. I think these are like the golden years of grappling, and it's just like really exciting to see how far we've come. I think for the longest time, one of the things that was like super upsetting as like a professional competitor is having to pay to be the show. Going to these tournaments and having to actually pay, even though you're like one of the top competitors, is actually putting money back into it. And he's given us an opportunity to actually make a living doing this. 20 G's is a lot of money. The prestige and the title are very, very important to me. But I also think part of the prestige is the fact that there is 20 G's on the line. If you're going and you're competing and all you get is a shiny medal, it doesn't matter how good the guy was that you beat at the end of the day. If there's not money behind it, it's not going to be prestigious. Probably like 8 or 9 years ago, I was actually like close to 300 pounds. I was really overweight. Before that, I had no grappling. My high school didn't even have a PE program, so I was pretty out of shape. And one of my buddies recommended a martial art class. It was actually Taekwondo, and I fell in love with martial arts again. I got into grappling around 8 years ago, and 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu SF was my second school. I actually started off doing judo, and I wanted to work on my ground game, and I ended up coming here. And I'm a black belt under Denny Prokopos. He's more than just an instructor to me. He's more than just a friend to me. He's family to me. He's been there for me at like the lowest points in my life. You know, I've got a successful school now, and you know, I've been able to compete on like the world stage, and now I'm competing at you know, EBI. And you know, he was always there for me. He taught me everything I know, and I love the guy, and I'm grateful for everything that he's done for me. Having Denny in my corner is definitely an advantage. I think he's one of the best coaches in the game. He knows how to coach under pressure, and he's been in those pressure situations, and I think he's got the details that are really gonna help me out.
UK star Daniel Strauss is a black belt under Roger Gracie.
My most notable victories in Jiu-Jitsu are I won the British Open, the English Open weight and absolute. I qualified for the ADCC winning the European trials. I won the NAGA Europeans, competed on Polaris, on ADCC, and a load of big national shows. I tried a load of different martial arts when I was younger, and I kind of, you know, tried judo and karate and kung fu and all of these other ones, and never really stuck with anything. And then I found jiu-jitsu, and as soon as we started doing some grappling, I latched straight onto it, and that was pretty much it. You know, that was 10 years ago, and I haven't stopped since. It was just, it made a lot more sense, and it was challenging and creative and enjoyable, and that's why it stuck. I'd say my specialty is, you know, kind of just about my style, my ethos of competing is to go, you know, my specialty is looking for the finish and trying to get submissions from different angles. I like attacking the neck, and I like, you know, looking for the arms and feet as well, but, you know, I'd say that that's what I specialize in is looking for the finish. I think these days everyone's getting a little bit too excited about leg locks, you know, like it's a brand new thing and it's only just come out. You know, leg locks have been around as long as chokes and arm locks have been around for. So yeah, I like leg locks as much as I like anything else, but no more. I first heard about EBI, you know, kind of in the first couple of shows and stuff, and when you're like a competitive grappler and you're into the, you know, the submission only in the shows, because that's kind of, I think, where the direction of jiu-jitsu is going. People are getting less interested in tournaments and more interested in these big shows, because that's kind of where the money is, and it's a bit more exciting. You know, sport is entertainment, and it's a lot more entertaining to see a show than it is to see a tournament where there's 10 mats on at the same time and there's no real you know, showmanship around it. So I always keep my eye out for all the different ones that are coming up, and, you know, a lot pop up and then disappear, and then when you've got one that's being consistent like EBI and putting on better shows and bigger shows every time, you've got to take notice. So I think that's what it was, and it just seems that they were putting on bigger and bigger shows every time.
The UK is really embracing the submission-only scene and EBI.
The jiu-jitsu scene in the UK is pretty good. We've got a lot of good guys coming up. You know, we're lucky enough to have some of the best guys in the whole world living in the UK, like Rodrigo and Braulio Estima, Victor Estima and stuff like that. So we've got a huge lot of talent at the top, and, you know, over time that's going to trickle down, and we've got, you know, over 300 black belts in the UK now. It's just exploded over the last 5 years, and a lot of top guys coming and doing well in big international competitions as well. So it's definitely growing, and, you know, the UK's coming. That's it. That's it. You're making history. You know, whoever wins this, you know, they're the first. You know, they're always, everyone remembers the first. Remember the first UFC champions. You remember the first champions and everything. So yeah, to win the title, to be the first one to claim it and to bring it back to England, that's about as big as it gets, isn't it? It's all for the title. You know, that if I win that 20 grand, that's going to be gone before I get home the next day. So that's going straight away. It's not about the money. If you're in this sport for the money, you pick the wrong sport. And I don't care what Gordon Ryan says. You're in the wrong sport for the money. It's all about the title, and that's what I'm going for. Yeah, you can keep the money. You just give me the belt.
In EBI 7, we had one UK representative, Ashley Williams. Now, EBI 9, we got 2 UK representatives. We have Daniel Strauss, and we also have Tom Breese.
I've been training 8 years now. I started no-gi for probably the first 4 years of my grappling career, and started gi as a white belt 4 years into doing no-gi, and I'm a brown belt now. I'm brown belt under Faraz Zahabi from TriStar Gym. I got a silver medal in the World No-Gis at purple belt, and other than that, I've competed in local small tournaments just to keep active, because I'm a mixed martial artist. I compete in the UFC. I have many submissions in mixed martial arts as an amateur and a professional. So MMA is my main career, and I love to compete and train in jiu-jitsu. When I'm not competing in MMA, I train twice a day, every day. My whole life revolves around training. It's not training revolves around other things. Everything that I do revolves around my training. I lived in a dorm for a few years at TriStar Gym. Just training every day, and it wasn't the nicest environment, but my training come first, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to improve myself, and that was a great experience, and it's made me the fighter I am today. I'd like to say I'm aggressive. I push the pace. I like to wear on guys, and I like to scramble. I believe my speciality is the rear naked choke. I believe it's the king of the submissions, and people, especially in mixed martial arts, I find joint locks people can tough them out, take a break. If you choke someone unconscious, they can't move. So my favourite submission is a rear naked choke. There has to be a winner. At the end of the time limit, you get put into situations, and there has to be a winner. So it's a fast tournament, and you have multiple matches in a short period. So I find it very exciting. Winning any EBI title is huge. It's, as I say, it's one of the biggest events in grappling at the minute. And especially submission only. It's the biggest submission only title. So it'd be huge, and one of the biggest accomplishments of my career. I'm competing in this to be the champion, and for the experience. As I say, money's just a bonus. To be able to compete against world-class grapplers and test my skills, that's what I'm doing it for. I want to improve my skills and experience top level grappling. I'm very proud of being from the UK and being from Birmingham, and I'd love to bring an EBI title back to Birmingham. And EBI is the most exciting grappling event in the world at the moment. So I just can't wait to compete against world-class grapplers and test my jiu-jitsu.
Guys like Tom Breese, Ashley Williams, Daniel Strauss, they're bringing the heat. They're showing the world that the UK ain't messing around. They're jiu-jitsu fanatics.
Very big, jiu-jitsu is huge. I mean, there's local competitions on every week, and there's jiu-jitsu clubs. There's multiple jiu-jitsu clubs in each city, so jiu-jitsu is definitely growing here and becoming a lot more popular.
Introducing Guybson Saw.
I've been training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for over 24 years under the guidance of my father and my brother at SAS team. I pretty much didn't have an option. My father was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt when I was born. My brother was also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt as well. I actually enjoyed another sports such as soccer, but since I was home all the time, it was hard for me to choose any other sport. So I had the extra motivation to be training at home, and that's pretty much how I got into jiu-jitsu. I didn't start at jiu-jitsu. I pretty much born into the gym, so it was just a natural move.
Guybson Saw's been doing jiu-jitsu his whole life. He comes from a jiu-jitsu family, and he's got submission victories over Buchecha, who's probably the best jiu-jitsu fighter in the world. At brown belt, he tapped him out.
I can say I'm a very aggressive fighter. I'm a person that looks for the submissions. I'm a person that looks always to finish the fights and give a exciting match to the public. It's as a jiu-jitsu fan, that's what I like to watch. So as a jiu-jitsu fighter, that's what I like to give to the people as well. I like to play bottom. I like to play on top. I could consider myself somewhat leg lock specialist since I've won a lot of submissions, a lot of matches with leg lock submissions. I really like the leg locks game. Well, EBI has influenced a lot on fighters to look for the submission. I think the best fighters in EBI now are winning all the matches by submissions because the overtime deal that a lot of the other events don't have. For guys that like to fight for the submissions, very good format, but the guys that like to fight for points and don't fight for submissions is actually a bad event. For my style, it's a perfect format and it's a perfect way to help athletes become better, you know. ABI is going to be my chance to be in the UFC. You know, I've been working very hard in my MMA career. I've been working very hard in my grappling career, beating a bunch of UFC fighters already in grappling events. And it'll be the chance, I think, for the UFC, you know, take a look at differently on the grapplers and see that we can actually offer a good set of skills to that division, you know. So I'll be grateful to be in the light heavyweight division of the UFC, you know. That would be the most amazing thing I've ever done, man. I've won, you know, Worlds, Nationals, Pan Ams. ABI is such a unique event and there's a lot of people looking for it, you know. So it would be amazing to have the title and also have the money, you know. $20,000 is a lot. I can be a hypocrite and say that I'm fighting only for the title because the prize is $20,000, you know. I don't think there's any event in the world right now paying $20,000 for each division, you know. So I think it's a very good incentive for the athletes, you know. The title, I would be you know, like I said, it would be one of the most amazing things I've ever conquered. And the money I plan to spend on, you know, with the gym, like I have, you know, Spartan Academy mixed martial arts, you know, maybe make some renovations and stuff, and you know, maybe help my daughter with her education a little bit too, since she's just born. My family's been into this for over 60 years. It's something that to me is as important as the air that I breathe every day. You know, I've been training jiu-jitsu maybe for 6-8 hours every day. I teach 5-6 classes a day. You know, I get up in the morning, come to the gym, and the last thing I do is leave home and go to the gym at 10 o'clock at night, you know. So that's what I do, that's my life, and you know, jiu-jitsu is everything for me.
First time we saw Jacen Flynn was EBI 6, where in the opening round, he went against Gordon Ryan.
Gordon Ryan trying to finish it. Jacen Flynn is done.
It sucked that I lost. I don't want to lose, but I guess I lost to the guy that won everything, so that's not too bad. Everybody else did as well.
I have a lot of confidence in him. He's an animal, and he's got that serial killer mentality.
My style of jiu-jitsu is turning coal into diamonds. Lots of pressure. I've got what's probably considered just bread and butter jiu-jitsu. Can't even think about being the champ. I gotta think about the first match and not losing the first match. And then the second match and not losing that one. And then the third match. I don't do jiu-jitsu for money, and I don't do jiu-jitsu for a belt. I don't compete for my family. I compete for me, and I don't compete to prove to anybody else that I'm good. I already know I'm good, so I compete because I love it. Approaching this competition is completely different. It is the absolute epitome of what I enjoy as far as jiu-jitsu. Sub only and no points. I didn't start jiu-jitsu because I wanted to get good at earning points. I started jiu-jitsu because I wanted to submit people. I guess the mountain to climb is appealing.
Everybody knows that the Danaher Death Squad is on top of the submission-only scene right now. People really don't talk too much about Paragon. And if you think about Paragon, they've had 2 competitors in the finals. They had Jeff Glover and EBI 1 in the finals. They also had Bill Cooper, EBI 7, in the finals as well. In comes their light heavyweight, Rodrigo Antunes.
I'm a 4th degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I grew up in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And I moved to LA around 4 years ago to pursue my Jiu-Jitsu instructor career. I started Jiu-Jitsu in 1984 when I was 8 years old. And I was, Carly Gracie, Clark's dad, was a good friend of my family. And then like one day my father gave up. You know what? Take him whatever you feel it's good for him, to learn these martial arts. And 32 years later, here I am still, be part of embrace the Jiu-Jitsu training and lifestyle. Came here in the United States I received a scholarship from my home university to do my last year of college here, my last year university in Santa Barbara. And that's when I met Franginha. I saw, the really beginning of Paragon. Franginha was a black belt, of course, already there. I was a black belt too, but he had, I believe, just one purple belt. I saw like Bill as an orange belt, Jeff as a blue belt, all those kids growing up. And even though going back to Brazil, we always keep this relationship as a kind of, we call each other cousins, we have built this relationship with respect and admiration for each other. And then when they decided to move to the United States for good, like 4 years ago, there's natural that I become part of the Paragon family. And best decision I ever made in my life.
Anybody coming from the Paragon Jiu-Jitsu family is coming with some serious fire, when you look at all the guys that they produced. In the submission-only game, you got to be good at rear naked chokes, arm bars, and leg locks, both of them offensively and defensively. That's very important in the submission-only game. Not important at all in the points game. Those are three elements that you don't have to work on at all. You don't have to work on the intricacies of back attacks or arm bars. You don't have to work on any of that.
We have to learn everything that's possible. Wrist locks, cranks, heel hooks, leg locks, foot locks. That's part of the game. If like Jiu-Jitsu is something that someone, you go outside and someone try to attack you and do a heel hook. Oh, sorry, I don't know how to defend, I never trained that. Yeah, you fail as a Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. You need to be ready for any kind of attacks that someone, try to do on you. Again, I'm very thankful for, many of the strokes that I have in my life. They said, yes, you should learn, and you should know how to attack, and you should learn how to defend. That's the only way you could be, a complete martial artist.
He's not coming to EBI ignorant to leg locks. Rodrigo Antunes might be the dark horse of this tournament.
The medal and the podium that's not the most valuable, piece of jiu-jitsu for me or my journey. Everything that I do towards the tournament, that's leads to the path, that I have to cross to be in the tournament. That's what's really valuable. Why? Because I have to test myself. I have to find out how far can I go. I have to see what my limits are and try to overcome. It's not easy, to go to the academy every day. Sometimes you're tired. You must have a strong mind to be there and say, well, today I'm gonna train. My shoulder hurts, but I'm gonna train because I want what? I want to get better. I want to test myself and see how far can I go. Yeah, I respect every single person, every single athlete that is on the card. I came here to face the best grapplers in the world, and they're there. My jiu-jitsu is basic and efficient. Try to use as less effort to get the best results. What does it mean? I don't want to spend energy and I want to take unnecessary risks to perform well and succeed. That's my jiu-jitsu. Do I like the new techniques? Yes, I'm using them. But how I can use those techniques in a very optimized way where I can spend the less energy possible and try to get the best results. I don't care about the money. I come here to prove myself against the best grapplers in the world. That's definitely the last thing that pushed me towards the fight. In fact, we lose money because, I have to train hard. I have to cancel some of the classes, I have to train harder, and money is definitely not the issue here. I don't want to test myself against average guys. It doesn't give me any kind of, feedback about my jiu-jitsu and my journey. Who's the best guy? That's when we're facing. Winning or losing, I'm gonna be there to test myself and test my jiu-jitsu.
One of the best leg lockers at Atos is Jimmy Friedrich.
I'm a brown belt under Rodrigo, and then I also got my purple belt from the Menez brothers. train with Eddie some too, because it's good no-gi rolling. No-gi's definitely where I feel like I can make my mark. I've been to ADCC twice already. Hopefully going to go again for a third time, but shoot for a medal or winning it this time. At the end of college, when I was pretty much done playing water polo, I picked up jiu-jitsu again, and then I really started doing it. So I think I've been training, a lot, probably 5 or 6 years, but I started training way before that by just getting kind of an introduction when I was bored.
I watched him, I rolled with him, and this guy he's outstanding. I mean, especially with heel hooks, and you really don't hear that much about heel hooks coming from the Atos camp.
I mean, I'm a pretty big leg lock guy. Pretty much all my finishes from ADCC trials, ADCC fights, some of the bigger fights, they were leg lock finishes. I think leg locks are really important to know, and you can definitely see the discrepancy in people that don't feel comfortable with them. But especially when you get two good guys, they tend to even each other out, just mostly because they're very comfortable there. They know exactly what to do, but on the other hand, you saw it in this last EBI, there's some very big names, some guys that aren't very comfortable with footlocks, and they tap really quickly to a footlock, and there are guys that everybody thought would go really far, and then all of a sudden they're getting leg locked by somebody that they thought was going to lose in the first or second round.
Very well versed in the modern day heel hook game. Very few people his size move like him.
It's going to be nice though, because I'm going to be one of the bigger guys, so I'm going to be able to work my passing more. I'm going to feel a lot more comfortable on top, and then at the end of the day, I just have more weight on me than a lot of these guys. I come out to wrap guys up when I'm on bottom and sub them, or if they want to be passive, I put them on their butt with a sweep, and then I pass their guard, put the pressure on them, take their back, choke them, or find something from there.
He's inverting, he's hitting heel hook entries from all different angles, and he's got a very, very solid basic jiu-jitsu game as well. I mean, his passing is stellar, his guard game is top-notch, very hard guard to pass.
Hoffa Mendez and then also his brother Guy Mendez, they have such innovative jiu-jitsu. They've developed such a good way of thinking about jiu-jitsu, and I can tell they're always thinking of new things, passing in different new ways, and they're so good from basically every position. I mean, I think he's one of the best passers, if not the best pound for pound passers in the world, and then he's got an absolutely incredible guard on top of it. But the guy feels like he weighs 280 pounds when he's on top of you and he's trying to pass your guard. I think the rules are extremely exciting. I think it's the best format for the fans and then people watching at home by far. And I mean, that's the most noise I've ever heard was when I was fighting Boogie and we were in the overtime rounds. And all honesty, I look back, I was kind of like, okay, crap, I got to a place I didn't want to get. But, I heard everybody hootering and hollering, and it's like, it's a lot of fun, it's exciting, and I think it's a format that's going to go really far and eventually become the future of jiu-jitsu.
Some people think, some detractors are thinking, oh, it's so artificial. What are these overtimes? They're so crazy, they're so insane. You can't just put someone on their back. How disrespectful. You have to pass their guard and show respect. It's like, it's a shootout, it's entertainment. That's what this is, There's several different ways you can decide a winner. This is just one way. We decide with a shootout, with a armbar and rear naked choke shootout. That's all it is. It's the epitome of jiu-jitsu.
Sometimes I hate, some people call it submission only, and then at the end there's a referee decision or a tie. EBI, it's definitive who the winner is at the end of the match. I love that aspect of it. That's something that caught my eye with EBI from the start, man. I was like, all right, this is cool. You're getting the best guy at the end of the tournament, I'm a black belt under Jared Klontz, and he's a black belt under Carlos Machado. I actually wanted to get into the 185 EBI, but that was full, so Eddie told me, he was like, hey man, you want to shoot for this 205? Now I don't have to cut any weight doing the 205, but when I got that message from Eddie, oh dude, I was like, man, yeah, like hell yeah, dude, this is something I want to do. There's no bigger platform to display my jiu-jitsu. I feel like this is the pinnacle. A lot of guys like doing, go to IBJJF Worlds, go out there and whatever, like that's their thing, but for me, this is like the pinnacle of where I wanted to compete at. So yeah, man, it's like a dream come true getting to do EBI. It's awesome. Jiu-jitsu is one of the truest martial arts there are, We don't do forms and all that stuff. We get after each other. Every day you're in here sparring hard, you know, and there's just something about jiu-jitsu, man, that's like a definitive martial art, you know. At the end of the night, when you grapple someone hard for 5 minutes, you know who won that roll and who didn't, you know, and I just love it, man. It's hard to explain, but once you're in the lifestyle, you understand it. Training takes up a ton of my life, man. Besides my family, I really don't do much else besides train, compete, go coach people, teach people, do private lessons, go work out for myself, you know, outside of jiu-jitsu, doing lifting, conditioning, and then go and travel to train. Jiu-jitsu, man, takes up almost my whole day, you know. I get a little bit of downtime, and even then I'm probably watching videos or matches, watching the EBI, replaying those. So yeah, man, it takes up a lot of my life, jiu-jitsu does. My style of jiu-jitsu is really, I'm always seeking the submission. I'm willing to give up positions and all that to just really try to submit somebody. Not that I can't secure a position, but I'd rather put on an exciting match, maybe lose on points, than I would to just be someone who stalls out. So I'm someone, man, you're gonna see, I'm gonna always be throwing up attacks. I consider my specialty chokes, not just one particular choke. You'll see a lot of my big time matches. I have the triangle choke. I put on a lot of people, but man, Darce chokes, guillotines, all that stuff. I'm always looking for that neck, man. So if someone leaves it out, I got long arms, I'm always looking to snatch it right up. EBI, you're almost guaranteed to see action in one form or another, you know? You're not gonna get two guys fighting for a takedown for 10 minutes. You're gonna get action on the mat, people throwing submissions. The best grapplers there are all these guys that are going out there, no one's scared to show what they have, you know, and that's something really cool. You have a lot of guys pull out because they're afraid, you know, they're afraid of these guys just throwing up submissions and all that. But all the guys out there, man, I feel good in saying that all of us are gonna go out there and try to kill each other, man, and that's awesome. And I think for the sport, that's huge. People wanna pay to see that, you know?
Although most EBI competitors are black belts, every now and then if I see a superstar purple belt or someone with potential, I had Devontae Johnson as a purple belt. I see star power in him, and I wanted to bring him in and to see how he'd react, and he did great. In comes Boehm, who is a purple belt, but his understanding of the game, the level his leg locks are at, and his competitive fire. He won Gracie Worlds. I mean, this guy is on a tear right now, and he's a big guy, and at 10th Planet, we don't have that many big guys.
I like back takes, and I like leg locks, getting into leg entanglements. My specialty would definitely be the back. That's my favorite dead zone to get to. A lot of people, in terms of the submission-only movement, we're kind of getting frustrated because so many matches were going to draws, and EBI totally took care of that. Not only did they take care of that so there's never a draw, but they also did it in the most entertaining way I could think of. First found out that I had gotten in, I was extremely excited, and it meant the world to me. EBI to me means the world. It was one of my main goals, was getting into EBI from when I first heard about it, basically from when I first started jiu-jitsu.
Even though he's a purple belt, he's one of those guys at purple belt, man, he just gets it.
To me, jiu-jitsu is the science of building systems which create control, which leads to submission. So it really fit my personality perfectly. It gives me some form of outlet for my energy. It captures my mind all the time. I'm always thinking about it. I train all day, like usually 3 times a day, sometimes 4 times a day. It's just an absolute obsession for me.
Another EBI team that's doing well is the Caio Terra Association. First they had Kim Terra in EBI 5, and then Yuri Simoes in EBI 6, and now we have Ryan Walsh at EBI 9.
I've been training for 10 years now, and the last 4 over here at Caio Terra Academy. I learned all different types of jiu-jitsu here at Caio's, but I tend to like passing with pressure and just really tight game. A lot of pressure. I'm into leg locks. I've been training them a lot more coming up for this tournament. There'll be guys who come down to train with us during competition class who specialize in that. And Caio has such like a deep understanding of all types of jiu-jitsu. His mind just works like that, so. It's a good tournament, man. When I see that they're offering money for jiu-jitsu athletes, it's awesome. And The format really pushes the athletes to compete hard. Everybody's trying to get paid. I think the rules for EBI are really good, and they're different too, so you're seeing a lot of new stuff, a lot of new guys that you didn't hear about before, and it's bringing jiu-jitsu to a much wider audience than before, so anytime you can grow the sport, it's good. I like jiu-jitsu, man. I did jiu-jitsu before there was money in it. Now there's money in it, it's that much better. It's just something special. I mean, I see a lot of people my age, like, working jobs and doing things like that. I don't know, man. There's not that many people who do jiu-jitsu, and I feel like being one of them is something special. It's a really big opportunity for me, and not a lot of people know who I am right now, but I feel like after the tournament they will. And I feel honored to compete with these guys, but at the same time, I still want to win, so I'm going to give it my best. Everybody's got a different strategy. I'd rather submit the person in 10 minutes, though, for sure. I'm trying to, like I said, get the money, but if it goes to overtime, it goes to overtime. I'm training that, too.
Quentin Rosenzweig returns to EBI after a disappointing performance in EBI 8, where he got submitted in the first round. He comes back at 205. Will he feel healthier? Did the weight cut of 185 affect him, or was just Kyle Griffin just too much of a monster?
First time competing in EBI, it was just a lot of fun being on that stage. It was a goal of mine, so partly achieving that goal. Now moving forward, the goal is winning it. No matter what, there's going to be a finish in the match. So that makes it always interesting. Again, nobody wants to see a stalling, boring match. Everybody wants to see a finish. This is the way jiu-jitsu should be. There should be a finish, and those overtime rules really push that finish. Nobody wants to fight for points, everybody wants it. I'm either going to be submitted or I'm going to submit someone, and that's the way I roll. I have a very leg lock heavy style jiu-jitsu. I enjoy the intricacies of leg entanglements and just trapping people's feet. I like strategy. I'm a big chess player. I like intelligently breaking down people, and that's why I do it. Jiu-jitsu means everything to me. It's been my life for full on for the past 6 years. It's all I do. I wake up every day, I teach, I train. I don't do anything else. EBI is the pinnacle of the sport. It's where everybody wants to be. If there was no money, I'd still be there. I just love competing.
No points, submission only. It's just jiu-jitsu. It's nothing new. I didn't invent anything at all. The first 10 minutes, submission only, no points. That's just jiu-jitsu in the dojo. I didn't make that up.
I think EBI adds another dimension to the competitive element of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and it exposes competitors to a different type of training. It forces them to train more submissions. It forces them to train that no holds, anything goes in terms of submissions. So it forces people to be more dynamic. My name is Eliot Kelly. I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I train a few different places: El Dorado Hills Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Yamaso BJJ, and Apex Wrestling. I think it's healthy. I think it's good to have different competitive outlets, from the points to sub only no points. EBI is one of the most exciting submission only tournaments, and so to be able to showcase my jiu-jitsu in front of a crowd of professionals is pretty exciting. My style of jiu-jitsu is it's a good question. I recently read an article, and they talked about it was a Japanese article after the Asian Open, and they said that I had a folk style jiu-jitsu from my background wrestling in college and a little bit post-college, and now that my wrestling at Apex Wrestling combined with my training in jiu-jitsu, maybe you could call it folk style wrestling. So a lot of takedowns, focus on some submission wrestling, and we'll see. I've been pretty successful with some topside knee bars, and I think leg locks are exciting. I think it puts, it makes jiu-jitsu, it makes the submission-only game a complete game rather than just chokes and arms. So, you know, look to see some exciting leg locks. I'm going to be going for them just as much as anybody else. Being able to compete in a show like EBI against elite level competitors and, you know, be featured on the UFC Fight Pass is an incredible opportunity. The money that comes with it is even sexier.
Definitely for me, it's all about the title and the belt. The money's secondary for me. I would like the belt first. I think to win the EBI title, you gotta pace yourself, because you could be looking at 4 matches and you could be going upwards of 50 minutes straight. So I think pacing is important, and obviously leg locks. Everybody's attacking leg locks now, so you gotta be comfortable with those. My name's Matt Kirchwam. I've been training about 15 years. I started off with Todd Medina, trained under Barrett Yoshida, a little bit with Lister, and now I'm at Dan Henderson's gym. My leg lock game is decent. I've definitely been working on it a lot more lately and improving it, improving escapes and improving attacks. Jiu-jitsu for me, I've kind of made it a lifestyle, so I kind of treat it like work. I go to work no matter what, and I go to the gym no matter what. I try to do that every day or every other day. I try to train. I usually put in 2 hours at the gym, hour and a half to 2 hours at the gym. And as far as the overtime, I think it's important that you take it out of the ref's hands. So there's a finality to it. You know, you either finish the guy or he wins on time. It just makes it a lot more exciting for the fans and everybody watching, instead of putting it in the ref's hands. If I can get a submission before I get there, I'd like that, but starting with somebody on your back isn't the easiest, or an armbar position, but I feel pretty comfortable in both of those spots. At the gym, you know, usually the last 15 minutes of class or 20 minutes we'll work back escapes and armbar escapes. Jiu-jitsu's brought a lot of good things. Discipline, hard work. It just shows me that if you put in the time, it'll pay off. You know, I never thought I'd get to black belt level, but you chip away at it and eventually you get there. The level of competition I feel is one of the highest in the world. So I'm looking forward to testing myself against those guys and see how I come up.
And also, we have a very special match. Colleen Schneider from Invicta is jumping into EBI against one of my rising prodigy female stars, Lynn Vuong.
The reason I first started grappling was because I just was watching Pride back in the day and totally fell in love with MMA. And I had been doing striking martial arts for a long time, and to compete in MMA, obviously needed to learn how to take some fools down and submit them, so I started grappling. I have no rank in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but I do not practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've been doing submission grappling around 7-8 years. So when I'm doing submission grappling, it's just for the combat, the competition side of it, right? It's not the holistic approach that a martial art is. There's no rank in wrestling. Your rank is you just get out there and you compete against anyone at your weight, and when you beat someone, you're better than them. That's it, right? When you go to a wrestling tournament, all that matters is weight. You just go in there with everyone, get your rounds in, and that's it, right? And that's the attitude I take towards submission grappling as well. It's kind of arbitrary to say this is the rule set of jiu-jitsu or this is the rule set of grappling, right? At any point in time, I mean, ultimately, whatever submits someone, right? If it's a choke or a joint lock, if it works. Use it. To say I'm gonna put certain things in place for safety, I think there's some places where that's appropriate, maybe some skill levels or ages, but top level competition should do anything that works. Why in the world would you say, this is totally effective, but you can't use it? We don't like it, so we're not gonna use it. Screw that, like, use it, do what works. Make the sport as complete and as awesome as it can be. It was so friggin' awesome to just watch all that happen, all those guys battle, and number one comes out on top. And that's not something you get to see that much in combat sports anymore. MMA has evolved to more of a just one fight thing. So I really like the tournament format that EBI uses. I think it's really exciting to watch. Being a good submission grappler, being able to control a person and manipulate them and get to that submission is inherent in being a complete and successful mixed martial artist. You want to be exciting, right? You want to do something that people are going to watch it and be on the edge of their seats and be talking about it the next day. And one of the things about the EBI rule set is that it really allows for that. You're not playing for points. You're attacking. You're trying to get the submission. So it really lends itself to going out there and putting on an exciting match. So there's no penalty for going for a submission and failing and ending up in a bad position. I say if something scares you, do it, right? Like, I mean, I really try. I try and live my life by that, right? Like, if I'm intimidated by something or a little afraid of something, then I'm gonna make myself go out there and do it. Like, there's still days when I go to practice and I'm intimidated or scared. There's somebody I know can beat me up, but that's how you grow, right? That's how you grow in the sport, and that's how you grow in a person. Just jump in, do something that's scary. It just makes it more of an event. It makes you more excited, more, it feels like something special, right? And the Orpheum is such a cool venue, so being up in the balcony and seeing everything, having, Bruce Buffer announcing and the guys wrestling on the mat and the next competitors waiting up on the blocks, it's just the whole thing has a great feel to it.
I'm here to get my submission, throw up my 10, and go home and then go to school the next day.
Leg locks are the reason Lynn Vuong has risen so quickly to the spot where she's at now.
I'm going against anybody on the mats, whether it's a guy or a girl. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm gonna 100% try to tap you. I'm gonna test out the tools that I've been drilling. I'm gonna test out the tools that I've been given. I'm gonna test out what I've been working on. So, especially with leg locks, it's advanced. And if you don't have a leg lock game, if your leg lock is not as advanced as mine, I'm gonna tap you. And if you're a guy, it happens, and they get frustrated. They get frustrated the first time, maybe the second time, but after the fourth time, they know that it's not a joke and that I'm not messing around. If they don't tap, like, unfortunately, they might get injured. Their feelings get hurt, but if you let me tap you out 10 times in 8 minutes, I'm gonna tap you out 10 times in 8 minutes, even if it's an open mat or if we're rolling after class. I want to submit, my competition in whichever submission I get, whether it's leg locks, whether it's an arm bar, whether it's a choke, it doesn't matter to me. It's about the submission at the end of the day. 10th Planet, I've never really felt like I needed to go anywhere else. As soon as I stepped foot into a 10th Planet, as soon as I learned the 10th Planet technique, I just felt like it was the perfect fit. I never felt like I needed to leave and go anywhere else. It felt straight at home. Everyone's really welcoming. Everyone's really open-minded. Nobody ever judges you for, the mistakes you make or even for your successes. Everyone's always happy for you, and it feels like a really big family, and everyone's always supporting you to make you a better grappler, a better person, emotionally, physically, and mentally.
Marvin Castle's a student of mine. He's a brown belt, and he's got a very intricate, personal leg lock style that Lynn Vuong is all over.
In jiu-jitsu, I feel like technique matters the most because it helps with, there's technique in finding tension, there's technique in finding angles, there's not only strength that you rely on, especially as a woman grappler, you have to be more conscious about technique versus strength. I'm there to show that women's jiu-jitsu can be exciting, that women's jiu-jitsu is technical, and that women can really mess you up whether or not you're a man or you're a woman. That it's a serious sport and you should take it seriously.
You take 10,000 jiu-jitsu fans in a stadium and they watch a match and they get to pick, how are we gonna end this match? Every match, boom, they take a vote right there at their seat, they take a vote. Like, you want this to end in a draw? Do you want this to end with judge's decision? Or did you want it to end with a shootout with rear naked chokes and arm bars? I believe that the audience would choose a shootout of rear naked chokes and arm bars, and that's what EBI is all about, trying to figure out what the audience wants.
EBI middleweight and absolute champion, coming for my third strap.
When I was training with the Diaz brothers, they would go for knee bars, I would go for like heel hooks all the time. So I'm used to this, it's not something new, So when people tell me like, oh, leg locks is something new, no, that's for me, that's old news.
Can't stand leg locks.
And there's a lot of people looking for it, so it would be amazing to have the title and also have the money, $20,000 is a lot.
It's not like we've had a lot of opportunities, but to go and bring home that title to the UK that would be the biggest thing for me for sure.
I got to find a way to win this, and it's literally, I can't let this guy tap me. That's the thought process. I can't let this guy tap me.
And I hope I can, represent Paragon Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and as good as my teammates have done in the past.
I think that, like my overtime positions, I think I'm one of the best in the world there.
Money's just a bonus. To be able to compete against world-class grapplers and test my skills, that's what I'm doing it for. I want to improve my skills and experience top level grappling.
That's how you grow, right? That's how you grow in the sport, and that's how you grow in a person. Just jump in, do something that's scary.
I think that life can be about more than one passion, and my passion can be, about saving people's lives and trying to manipulate some joints.
Sunday, November 6th, Gordon Ryan attempts to capture that third title. Can he beat Vinny Magalhaes? Can he beat Guybson Saw? Can he beat Daniel Strauss? Find out on UFC Fight Pass. See it live if you're anywhere near Southern California. Sunday, November 6th. Get your tickets at ebiofficial.com.